Hi, and welcome to Geographic's first reiteration of GVERSE Data. My name's Anthony Ford, and I'm the VP of Sales for North and South America. As a brief history of myself, worked for Esri for about 3.5 years. Am the co-founder of US Landgrid, one of our collaborators for GVERSE Data, and have now been with Geographics for just over 10 years. What is GVERSE Data? Well, GVERSE Data is our first reiteration of data to the energy market. We're shipping a free region of GVERSE Data to every customer that buys a new license or renews a rental. It's broken into 5 regions. So Oklahoma is one region, Kansas is one region, and then there's 3 regions in Texas, the Permian, Central, and then the Western Gulf. So how do I get it? And is it really free? Well, once again, it is free if you do purchase a new license or you renew your rental. An activation link is sent to you via email with your license file. And it's as simple as downloading a zip file. It takes a few minutes. And basically, what's included in the basic version, so there are 2 versions, basic and advanced. The basic version, which you do get for free with your new purchase or your rental renewal, includes well data, so headers, completions, and perforations. It includes land grid, basic land grid, like sections, townships, abstracts, surveys, and boundaries. And it also includes some basic cultural data, roads, rivers, and streams. The advanced package, which is available to paid subscribers only, is a lot more detailed. So on the well and production side, it comes not only with the headers, the perforations, and the completions, but also the formation tops, the casings, the IPs, the surveys, and of course, the historical and monthly production. On the land grid side, it comes with all the sections and townships, obviously, and then the abstracts and surveys. But it does go down to the lots, quarters, and quarter level in the PLSS states where available. And then in Texas, it also includes the sub-surveys, lots, tracts, subdivisions, blocks, townships, and so on. The last layer, where you do get a lot more detail in the advanced package, is with culture. So obviously it includes the roads, rivers, and streams. But in Texas, for example, it goes down to the extra detail of the railroads, the pipelines. You also start to see landmarks, buildings, reservoirs, four-wheel drive trails, and some deep details like that. In order to get started with GVERSE Data, you'll receive within your license email from customer support information on how to activate the data. It'll be a download link, and in some cases it'll be up to a 2 gig download. Once you've downloaded the data, you can extract it into the Geographics project folder, and within 5 minutes be up and running with your region with the data that you've received from Geographics, including wells, land grid, and cultural data. The first thing we'll want to do is open up Project Explorer, and we want to find out where our projects are stored on our computer, because this is where we'll want to download the zip file that's being sent to us, the GVERSE Data zip file that's been sent to us from Geographics, and this is where we'll want to extract it into our projects folder. So the way we do that is we open up Project Explorer, we right click on the Projects tab, and we have a look at Properties. So I can now, by looking at that, see that our projects are stored in Program Data Geographics/Projects. It may be different for different folks, but that's pretty much going to be a standard. So I've already gone ahead and, as you can see, downloaded that zip file. It's the advanced GVERSE Data for Oklahoma, dated August 12th, 2022. It's just over 2 gigs. It took just a couple of minutes to download, but I do have a good download speed over here. I've also gone ahead and extracted it within this folder, and you can see I now have an extra folder called the same as the zip file. It's just been extracted. We can now go back to Project Explorer now that it is extracted and that folder has been created. And we'll see that we now have a new project named the same as that folder, obviously. I've gone ahead and activated that project. And we can now view that project in Wellbase. I've gone ahead and loaded wells with production in this case, and we can see that we've got headers, formations, completions, production information for the particular well that I selected. Of those wells with production, I think there's 152,000 listed in Oklahoma. If we go to all wells in Oklahoma, our list is about 488,000. If I jump over to GeoAtlas, you also have a pre-built map, so you don't need to worry about loading all your land grid or your cultural layers and figuring out your well symbology. The way I did this was there is a pre-built map called map.gmp. You can go ahead and open that, and that will go ahead and get your full regional map loaded for you. If we go ahead and zoom in, I'll give you an idea of some of the detail and the data, at least from a map perspective here. But it is quite detailed. In a lot of cases, it'll even go down to the quarter level. And remember, you can also bring in your streaming imagery, your NAPE, National Agriculture Imagery Program, I think, is a great layer to bring in for free by using the Esri WMS layer import. Within GVERSE Data, we've also created the MAPVERSE Data portal. It's a data portal where you can go ahead and view your data on a map, obviously via the internet, but it's also a place where you can go ahead and extract your data. Whether you're looking for postage stamp sized AOIs, or whether you're looking just to do monthly or quarterly updates, it's a great place to go ahead and get your well and production data, your land grid data, or your cultural data. Some nice features of the MAPVERSE portal are dockable windows. So most of us have multiple monitors. You can go ahead and dock the spreadsheet windows. Each of the windows is representative of each other, so they work in congruence. The spreadsheet represents what's going on in the map. If you've done a query of some sort, that's represented in your second or third window in the spreadsheets. Creating an account is free, both for geographics and non-geographics customers, so all the data is viewable for free. However, if you do want to extract or consume the data in any of your third-party applications or in geographics, you will have to have a paid account with us. Some other nice features about GVERSE Data and MAPVERSE is the advanced querying, both textually and graphically. So and/or statements down to the 10th degree, basically. And then obviously choosing things alternatively on the map graphically. There's also basic analytics included. And once again, you can export in multiple formats in your native file formats for geographics and also for your Esri users as well. So let's go ahead and have a look at the MAPVERSE data portal. MAPVERSE can be found at data.gverse.com. Our MAPVERSE portal is where you'll find all our well and production data, all our land grid and all our culture. Registration and viewing the data is free. However, if you do want to consume or extract, download the data, you do need a paid subscription. So let's go ahead and sign in. I've already got an account, so I'll go ahead and log in. Some few basics about the MAPVERSE platform. Whenever you see this icon, it means that it's a dockable window. Most of us have multiple monitors, and so this would be an example of where you'd probably want to use the dockable windows. The dockable windows match and marry whatever is on the map. So if we do have a search or query going on, it will go ahead and match whatever our query is on the map. We have over 2 million wells loaded for Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Some other basics on the map are you're able to turn on imagery, which is going to be really handy if you are looking for those well scars. You can turn on and off the culture, the land grid, the base map, or the wells. Over here on the left-hand side, we can go ahead and zoom in and out. We've got our advanced querying. which we'll go into in a little bit more detail in a second. We can go ahead and choose areas by drawing a rectangle or polygon. We can also choose data via the land grid. So we can choose via a township, graphically, via a section, via a quarter, and so on. And I'll show that in a sec as well. We can also choose to extract the areas that we've chosen. So if I've got a geographical selection and I want to go ahead and choose all the wells, the culture, and the land grid for that AOI, I can go ahead and do that. It'll go ahead and email me a zip file broken down into the wells, culture, and land grid and clipped to the exact AOI that I chose on the map. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to go ahead and do a advanced query here. I'm going to go ahead and clear that previous selection. Let's do an advanced query for an area in Oklahoma. Let's do 9 to 10,000 feet. Let's choose Garvin County, for example, and let's just get wells with production. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that. And we can go ahead and check. All right, so we have 711 wells in Garvin that match that search criteria of 9 to 10,000 feet. Now we can go ahead and click on Zoom to, and what that will do is zoom into these 711 selected wells within our AOI, which are obviously going to be within Garvin County. So we've done that, we've zoomed in, we've got our 711 wells selected. I can go ahead and zoom into a particular area of interest that I know I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my imagery as well. And I know I'm in the right township and range. Go ahead and identify one of these wells. Looks as though I'm in a bit of an older area here, but let's have a look at this well here. I just identify it by left clicking on it. So I've got the Kaiser Francis oil well here. I can go ahead and have a look at the reports page for that particular well. As you can see, we've got our timeline down here. It doesn't look as though it's an oil producing well. It is a gas producing well, as you can see though. We can also dock these windows in order to have a closer look at these charts in a zoomed in sort of view. We can also look at the AOI. Now what this is the nearest 25 wells to the particular well that I chose. So that'll actually populate down here with our first well being highlighted and then the other 25 wells that we're using for the analysis below that. So this is the oil chart. We can start to turn off things like the average or individual wells to start to get a better look of what this analytics chart is trying to tell us. We can also have a look at the gas wells within that AOI. So once again, this was our pre-selected well, and the wells below are the 25 nearest neighbors. And just like the oil producing chart, we can start to turn off the average line or individual wells within these charts as well. Another nice feature here is the zone analysis. Once again, it's broken up into oil and gas. And what it does is basically gives an idea of the highest producing formations, whether on the oil or the gas side. So based on the well that we chose and the 25 nearest neighboring wells, sorry about that, neighboring wells, unfortunately we do have an unknown formation zone that's the highest producing, but as you can see, you've got these other formations here that give you an idea of what maybe you might be wanting to target. The same goes for the gas side. It's going to show us the highest producing formations based on the data, and depending on what you're targeting, the information has a certain amount of value. Now there are going to be cases after you've done your textual or graphical search where you want to actually go ahead and choose a particular well out of that search criteria. So going back to our original search criteria of wells between 9 to 10,000 feet, producing wells within Garvin County, we had 711. We've gone ahead and identified that well number 2 here, the Arbor Trust well, is one of the wells we want to take a closer look at. So we can go ahead and click on the reports page, but before I do that, I'm going to click zoom to because I want to actually have a look at the well on the map. So we've gone ahead, we've zoomed in. This is our well highlighted, just like the highlight from the spreadsheet. I can go ahead and click on that. It's going to bring up the brief header attributes for that particular well. And I can go straight to the reports page from here or from my spreadsheet here. So let's go ahead and do that. So we've got the Arbor Trust well here. It's a gas producing well, and we can start to have a look at the analytics around that well. So let's assume that our search criteria has given us the result that we wanted. And in this case, we have the result that we wanted. We have our 711 wells in Garvin County producing at some point at 9 to 10,000 feet. There's a few ways we can go ahead and consume this data. We can go ahead and export it to a spreadsheet, which is going to be just a nice quick way to look at the data. Obviously you can use the spreadsheet importer in GeoGraphics, but part of the reason we have done GVERSE Data is we're trying to make that process easier. So I'm going to show you some other ways to also consume, export and consume that data. But if we do go ahead and click on this tab, it'll go ahead and the portal will go ahead and download a spreadsheet in your browser. Once that spreadsheet is finished downloading, which only takes a second, you will end up with a spreadsheet like you see, hopefully you see on my screen right now. It's broken into the different tabs representing each of the different layers that come with the well and production data. But it is a nice quick way to go ahead and have a look at the data in a localized spreadsheet format. Once again, you can use the spreadsheet importer in GeoGraphics if you so desire. And it is one way to go ahead and consume the data. Another way, and maybe a more advisable way to consume these 711 wells, but also the land grid and culture potentially, if you are building a postage stamp project within GeoGraphics. Another way to go ahead and grab that data is go ahead and click on the Export tab, choose Wells if you just want the well data, choose Wells, Culture and Land Grid if you are building that postage stamp, and go ahead and click Submit. The portal will go within a few minutes and email your registered email address a download link, and within that download link you'll be able to click on the zip file and it'll be broken up into 3 different folders, and the folders will look like this. I've already unzipped the file, downloaded it from the email that I received, but this is the breakdown of what the file looks like. It'll be broken down once again into 3 different folders, culture, land grid and wells. Within the well data, you will receive a CSV, multiple CSVs. Once again, following the PPDM data model or the standardized GeoGraphics data model. 1 CSV for well headers, 1 CSV for formation tops, 1 CSV for IPs, and so on. You'll also receive 1 well-based ASCII4 file. This is the native file format that GeoGraphics is looking for in order to import your well data. It's actually the recommended file import that we would want people to use for your monthly or quarterly updates. It's going to be the easiest and most flexible way to get those well and production updates into GeoGraphics. Also in this well folder is some shapefiles representing the different layers, such as, once again, formation tops, headers, casings, etc. And then a GeoJSON file as well for some of those enterprise applications. Within the land grid, you get CDF and shapefiles. We recommend loading the CDF files because it is a smart land grid. And what I mean by that is it's a land grid where you can respot wells en masse based on footage or quarter calls. The same actually goes for your leases. If you are a user of LeaseMap, you will be wanting to load CDF files. Within the culture, once again, you get CDF and shapefiles to give you an idea of some of the layers that you're getting. It really depends on what's going on in that AOI. But all in all, there's about 90 layers depending on where you're at. But obviously you get the roads, rivers, streams, and all the stuff that you would expect from culture. The last point I would like to show today on MAPVERSE is just the geographical selection. So I can go ahead and let's say we want to zoom into a particular area in Oklahoma. Let's say on the border between Washita and Kiowa counties. And I want to choose Township 8 North, 17 West and Township 7 North, 17 West. I go ahead and select my land grid icon over here on the left hand side. I choose my township selection. And while holding down Control, I choose my first township. And then still holding down Control, I choose my second township. So by choosing this geographical selection, I've essentially chosen, I guess, what we'd call a postage stamp. I can then go ahead and export all this data, my wells, culture, and land grid, or just a selection of just the wells, for example, submit and export that straight to my map. We probably also want to look at our second dockable window, the one representing the spreadsheet. And we can see from that window, there's 730 wells selected in those two townships. We can go ahead and export those 730 wells to our spreadsheet with the multiple tabs, if we so choose. We can go ahead and have a look at reports for a particular well or an AOI buffer around a particular well. So nearest neighbors of about 25 wells for the analysis. We can also zoom to that particular well within these two townships that we've selected, or those particular two wells that we've selected in this case. Something to keep in mind is if you are going to have or run another query, whether it be graphical or textual, always go to the magnifying glass, clear your previous selection, and then go back to where you need to go back to and start to do your graphical selection or your textual selection. Your second document window, in this case the spreadsheet, will reflect what's on the map once again. So seeing as we have no queries selected, it's going to represent all the data loaded. And in this case, it's the 2 million plus wells that we have loaded for Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. So for your monthly updates, once you've gone ahead and done your query, probably based on completion date, you can and downloaded the zip file, you can then go ahead and import the well-based ASCII for update information. So the update for your well and production data. You'll go to Project Explorer, you go to File, Import, Well, and then look for Geographics, ASCII for Import. Once the box pops up, you'll go ahead and click Next. You won't be choosing a DEFCON template for your update imports. You'll choose your file, and you'll be able to find your file once again from your zipped download that you received in the email. Once you unzip it, you'll go to the Well folder. You'll look for a file that ends with extension WB4, standing for Well-Based ASCII 4. You browse to that and choose that as your import file. Everything else here will remain the same except for override options. You'll want to define your settings here, especially if you've already got your activated project from us, or you've got a predefined or pre-built project that you've already been working on. You'll click on Settings, you'll select All, and very important, make sure you have Import New Data selected and click OK. And then you'll go ahead and click Next, and you'll choose the standard geographics import settings from that point onwards. We highly recommend that you call your support person, at least for the first few times that you're doing your updates. They'll be able to guide you through the process and make sure it's simple. You will find that it takes no time at all. And once again, just like activating your region or downloading postage stamp size data, the updates are very easy and really quick to do. That's it from GVERSE Data for today. I feel as though I have taken some shortcuts along the way in order to show you the full functionality of what we've done and what we're trying to achieve. But hopefully you have found the session interesting and useful, especially as it being our first reiteration into data for the energy sector. Please reach out to your salesperson if you have any questions or if you would like to subscribe to the updates for the basic or the advanced data. Also, don't forget to ask for your free region of basic data when you do renew a rental or subscribe to a new license. If you have any questions for me, I can also be reached at aford@lmkr.com. Once again, thanks for your time today. Hopefully you do see some value in this as we try to improve our value add and improve the customer experience for everyone. Please provide any feedback you can, and thanks again everyone for your time.